everyone. This is Erica here on today's episode of The Future of Work, powered by Criterion. We have Sam Sarkisian with us today. He is the Chief Client Officer and Director of Publishing at LaunchTeam, and we are very excited to speak with him on the following topics. Today, we are going to be speaking about employee engagement, remote work, and learning. So, Sam, can you tell us a little bit about your role and your company?
Yeah, I'd love to. So my name's Sam again. I work for LaunchTeam. LaunchTeam is a hybrid publishing house and a marketing agency, if I were to sum it up. We focus on the nurturing aspect of marketing. So whether it's a book launch or a product launch, we try really hard to accumulate and foster a small group of early adopters, anywhere from like 300 to 1,000 people, and incentivize them to expand the network of our clients in order to execute successful launches. So that's pretty much what we do. We also have a department that I run, right, as head of publishing called LaunchTeam Press, where we like to think of it as hybrid self-publishing, where an author has agency over their intellectual property and gives us a small fraction of royalties compared to bigger publishing houses. And we pride ourselves on the customizability of our contracts so that the author can change, update, whatever they see fit with their work.
Great. So let's start with the first topic, which is employee engagement. So how do you motivate and keep your employees engaged?
Great question. Honestly, it boils down to connection, human connection, and really sincerely understanding their wants and needs, their motivations, having frequent check-ins, right? Everybody is exhausted at this point during the work from home life. And showing that you care about your coworkers really matters. At LaunchTeam, we don't really have hierarchies. Like, sure, there are certain thresholds that new clients and inquiries go through before it gets to me, but I don't view, our executive assistant as my subordinate, and she doesn't really treat me as a superior. Right? We have phone conversations as friends often. It's all about transparency and really showing that you care. And then I find that, inspires motivation naturally from your employees because they feel fulfilled and valued while simultaneously, having their own lives. Right? So it's not just work, because work and home have converged for better or worse. So it's important to have friendship and, transparency within that human connection. So
very nice. And would you be able to share with us some best practices for achieving that reality?
Let's see, how do I say this? Being open and honest about your own emotional state with your fellow employees helps them feel comfortable sharing their own. Right? It's, it's great on paper if you're like, we're open and honest in the culture of our company, right? But if you're also emulating that and modeling it for everyone else, then it comes to fruition and they feel inclined. When our CEO says, hey, everyone, I'm really stressed today. I need to take the afternoon off. If there's a fire, please let me know. I'm happy to be here for you. So when those things are modeled, everybody else follows suit and they know it's not just empty air.
Would you be able to tell us about some active and innovative companies around you, perhaps, that inspire you in terms of engagement?
In terms of companies, specific companies, not so much, but people have. LaunchTeam is on Clubhouse quite a bit. If you've heard of that new social media app, it's brimming with, marketing experts and entrepreneurs So it's really the human to human inspiration. I don't have any specific companies really to answer your question,
That's a
unfortunately.
great answer, though. Clubhouse is a great answer. And then would there be any technical solutions that you find very, very helpful on the front of keeping your employees engaged?
Rather than solely use email because it's somewhat informal, it's hyper professionalized, I would say, right? Email's purpose is to communicate with clients, or for major, company specific ideas.
Mhm.
We tend to use WhatsApp to have a running
Yeah.
conversation. And we like it because you can use audio messages. It's not as urgent as a phone call, right? And it's not as formal either. It's a continual stream of updates and needs. So that works well for us.
Great.
We have like different teams segmented within WhatsApp, and we even connect with our clients on WhatsApp too. So for formal things, we'll do emails, for like manuscript updates and, contract closings and, what have you on the formal business side. But in terms of executing the launch, we bring our clients right in with the team that's working with them, so that everybody can stay up to date.
That's creative. I like that. Okay, so let's go on to the next topic, which is remote work. So that's a very hot topic at the moment, obviously, for everyone. What are some ways to keep productivity levels high? So performance reviews, staying on track. Can you share some insights with us?
Yeah, we have weekly debrief sessions, but it's important to us that they remain optional. So
Okay.
we schedule them, and if there are no major concepts to debrief, and the week went well and nobody really has questions, we try to keep it open for cancellation so that people know it's there if they want it, right? And that everybody's available. But also, if we need to use manpower and energy on other things, that even if it's relaxation, right? It's like, nope, like we do it Friday at like 2 p.m. So it's like, if we need to just take the Friday afternoon off because we're all exhausted, because we're a startup, right? And a lot of the times in startups, the work kind of never stops, right? It's 24/7 because you're also branding yourselves and your clients constantly.
Mhm.
So having that option for time off, and the open and honest ability of a debrief session, that certainly helps motivation.
Excellent. So that could go into our next question. What I was going to ask you was some best practices that you could share with us of how to maintain those high productivity levels. So, do you have any others to add to the option for cancellation, which is great? I think that's a really great one.
Yeah, to keep productive, I mean, emotional awareness and validation are super important right now. We don't have that person to person, smile or like great work, pat on the back type of
Yeah.
mentality anymore.
Mhm.
So, especially when we're giving constructive criticism about something, we always do it on video so that the person can actually like see your facial expression. So many things get lost in the ether when it's just via text, right? The tone can be misinterpreted. So I would say, as much face-to-face time as possible. Does that answer your question?
Yes, definitely.
So we don't really do performance reviews because we kind of do it live in real time if we need to give constructive criticism. But at
Okay.
the same time, encouraging everyone to take risks, right? Really giving your employees agency when reaching out to new clients, when running meetings without you, is terribly important right now, right? Because work and home are so muddled, giving somebody the power in their own agency and identity that we trust them to execute the wills of the company because we hired them since their values align with ours. We know that they'll represent the company in a way that's possible, right? We try not to bottleneck the process with too much permission, and really use those debrief sessions as updates for moving forward, updates and feedback for moving forward, rather than, hey, is it okay if I do this? Hey, I'm going to reach out to this client and do this. We're much more gung-ho in our philosophy. Like, no, do it. We want you to do it, right? We want you to do it yourself. We believe in you, and, report back. Don't report before, report back.
Nice. Okay, so you mentioned using video. So are there any technical solutions in terms of facilitating video that you would say that you favor over others?
Of, employee debrief meetings, we never screen share. We try to make it as authentic as possible. It's never like, here are the major points of our meeting, right? Where people are going to fall asleep. It's, hi, how's everybody doing first, as an emotional check-in before we do a professional check-in.
That's nice. That sounds like a nice place to work at LaunchTeam.
We think so.
And you do video, I guess you use Zoom or
Google Meet, usually, just because all of our
Meet.
calendars are linked. That's another technical solution that we have. Everybody's, because a lot of people at LaunchTeam also do other side hustles as well. Since we're a company that focuses on building brands for others, we strive to offer our employees opportunities to increase their own social capital and social value. So we link all of our Google Calendars together in order to not have to bottleneck new meetings, right? So everybody can see where everybody's are. If there's a meeting that needs to happen with me, the CEO, a new client, and our executive assistant, we can just pull it all up. And we don't even need to ask. We're like, oh yeah, everybody's free at 2 p.m. on Thursday. And then the meeting just gets scheduled. We accept it, or if we have to revise it, we do. But it really saves response time.
Okay, thank you. So we can go on to the next topic, which is learning, a very important topic also. So I'm going to start with the question that is especially important given the previous points of our conversation, is how do you push people to self-develop?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It comes back to sincerity in us wanting them to take risks, right? I think that's we don't have formal training mechanisms at LaunchTeam. We mostly train by example. And of course, we have a cultural handbook, and we have, model proposals and contracts that, that I've written up so people can use them for inspiration. We have a lot of offhand materials that we allow. But whenever we bring somebody onto the team, the most efficient way we find is like, all right, great. I have a call with a new client in, tomorrow. You hop on that call with me, take some notes, not only on what the client is saying, but the questions I'm asking, the order of the questions, how I'm responding to them, when I'm business, when I'm human connection, so that you can then emulate it. And then what we'll do is kind of a reverse shadow, right? So the first meeting, they'll be in the background. I'll introduce them as just like, somebody on the team helping out, right? Because everything is fluid. And then the next time, once they're comfortable, I'll let them run it with the next client, and I'll be there as just like in the background, and give them feedback, and we'll talk about it, once it's over. And then of course, it gives them a safety net, if you will, where if they do start to feel nervous or anxious, or they don't know an answer to a question, I'm right there, right? So we can do a quick positive spin where it's like, Sam, because he's our chief client officer, probably has, a better answer to that question. And that's why he's in this meeting with us. And then I'll just hop right in. And, it shows the client that we value them because more people on the team are working with them. And it gives our employees, the gumption, if you will, and confidence to pursue what we need them to.
So I'm going to ask you again. So to sum up, are there some best practices that you could give us in point form that really promotes people to self-develop and want to learn?
One, we want them to be on projects they're also excited about, right? We don't really want to we don't hire people that don't believe in the work we're doing, right? We're trying to spread positive value for our clients by giving them the foundation to pursue huge dreams that they've had, like publishing a book, right? That's huge. That's a huge development. So the work we do inherently, helps push people to self-develop, because, it's instinctual for humans to want to help others.
Mhm.
So really honing in on the fact that our work does that, and we're not really trying to sell someone a product as much as we're trying to convince somebody to sell themselves to the world, right? And show the world their inherent value. So that's one way we hone development. I had one more thought. Hold on one second. I'm a fan of using feedback models, and this isn't a company-wide protocol by any means, right? But I used to work with Outward Bound as a
Okay.
facilitator. It's like an adventure education company that, takes youth and, out of their comfort zone and on climbing trips and hiking, et cetera, right?
Mhm.
And so one of the feedback models is called Plus Delta. It's very simple. It's very important, right, to not only give positivity, but to explain why it's so good, right? So they can emulate it later. You get, on the one hand, the validation aspect. On the other hand, it's part of training, right? So they feel like they're doing something well and they're learning at the same time. So that promotes people to continue to self-teach, right? And then Delta, rather than, a negative constructive criticism, Delta is the mathematical symbol for change, right? So it identifies something that could have been better, and then the suggestion for improvement is of the utmost of importance, right? Because people don't respond to negative feedback very well, naturally. They just, were programmed to not want to hear you didn't do a good job, right? So identifying it and then say, next time, why don't you try this? And then giving it to them, right? Giving them the agency, like, and what do you think? Is that something that works for you or not? Helps. They need to feel valued in those types of conversations, or else they're going to feel stilted, right? If all they're hearing is, you did this, it was bad, never do it again, counterintuitive to our philosophy that our employees should take risks, right? They're going to feel less confident in taking risk if you don't give them agency to explain what their thought process was on why they made a certain decision. So really openness on that, and we try to really emphasize the team element, right? We are called LaunchTeam after all, and it's like we're in this together, and we're going to help you, right? We want you to succeed. Your success is inherent to the company's success, so we're never going to leave you stranded, and we will, come to your aid if necessary. So yeah, the agency and establishing the support system is and being directly vocal about those things, right? Tell the employees, though, exactly that, right? Like, I'm here to support you all the time. If you take a risk and it doesn't work out, we're going to work through it together. It really assists in, the the self-actualization of the employee to really perform, rather than just be a cog and be task oriented.
Well, you had very nice answers to our questions. I just want to thank you for joining us today on the Future of Work by Criterion. And we appreciate you taking the time to discuss with us and share all of your insights and experiences with us. And our listeners definitely learned something today. So thank you again. And
thank you. It was great to be here. So it was awesome.
Thank you.